Let's face it, asking for more intimacy in a relationship can feel vulnerable, awkward, or even risky. Whether you're dating, in a long-term relationship, or married, there's often a fear of rejection or hurting your partner's feelings. But what if there was a way to do it that felt natural, respectful, and deeply connecting? In this video or article, we'll explore a powerful yet simple psychological trick, inspired by relationship and intimacy expert Dr. Laura Berman. It's not about manipulation, it's about emotional safety, positive communication, and setting the stage for real closeness. If you're ready to build deeper trust and reignite passion, keep watching. Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Berman, and today I want to talk about something so often misunderstood: intimacy. Real intimacy isn't something you ask for. You don't negotiate your way into a woman's heart or body. You awaken it. You cultivate the space where it naturally rises. The moment you ask for it, especially from a place of needing approval, you've already given away your power, not because desire is wrong, but because needing validation in order to act on that desire signals emotional insecurity, and that subtly tells her nervous system that it's not safe. Even if her heart wants to say yes, her body starts to shut down. And this isn't manipulation. It's about emotional leadership. Creating a container where she feels so safe, so seen, so steady in your presence that her resistance fades without pressure. Because healthy intimacy doesn't come from words, it comes from energy, from presence. You don't move a woman with logic, you move her with grounded emotional alignment. So what does that actually look like? You don't touch her body first, you touch the space around her. You slow everything down. You allow the air between you to become part of the conversation. You aren't rushing in, you're holding steady. You let her feel your awareness before you let her feel your hand. A woman doesn't say yes when she's asked. She says yes when she's moved. The man who understands this doesn't ask for intimacy like a question. He offers it like an invitation, subtle, calm, and rooted in self-possession. He says things like, "I'm not rushing this, I want to feel if your energy matches mine," or "I like the way you look at me when you think I'm not noticing." See the difference? He's not seeking permission. He's holding a frame. He's building a connection. He's creating tension, not the kind that overwhelms, but the kind that invites. When he speaks, he doesn't push, he pulls. And when he moves, he does it with care, not control. One hand placed intentionally. A glance held just a moment. Longer, a voice lowered, not to impress, but to calm. Because women respond to how they feel in your presence, not just what you say. And the man who is emotionally grounded doesn't chase, he invites alignment. He knows that if she feels safe, she will move closer. And if she doesn't, she won't. But he isn't shaken by her decision because he isn't dependent on it. And here's the key: when she sees that her no doesn't destabilize you, when she sees you remain emotionally centered, that's often when her maybe turns into curiosity. Why? Because your steadiness creates safety. Your detachment from outcome opens the door to real desire. Because at the deepest level, intimacy isn't about asking or getting. It's about being. It's about leading, not through dominance, but through emotional safety. You don't need to convince her. You need to be so in alignment with yourself that she feels the invitation before you even speak. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: true intimacy is never taken. It's not coaxed or pressured. It's awakened through presence. Through energy, through emotional leadership. You don't ask her to surrender. You simply create the space where she chooses it. That's the power of emotional maturity. That's the heart of magnetic intimacy. And that's how connection becomes real, because now you're not a man who needs her to say yes. You're a man who attracts yes effortlessly, and that's exactly what makes her feel like giving herself to you is her idea. That's not a trick. That's stoic seduction, and it never fails. The trick is making her think it's her idea. You want her to want you, then stop trying to convince her. Start becoming the man who understands one primal truth: women don't surrender to pressure. They surrender to permission. And the only man they surrender to is the one who makes them feel like the idea wasn't his, it was theirs all along. That's the psychological trick, not manipulation, but invitation. You don't move in because you're allowed, you move. And because the space between her and you is already heavy with yes. She wants to feel like her desire took over, like she couldn't stop it, like she crossed the line, not you. Why? Because when it feels like it was her idea, there's no guilt, no shame, no defense, only freedom. And freedom is the gateway to her deepest, most raw expression. Here's how the average man approaches intimacy. He builds rapport, he flatters, he signals interest. Then he asks, "Can I kiss you? Do you want to go back to my place? Do you like this?" And just like that, he forces her into logic. She has to analyze, weigh the consequences, decide if she should. But a woman doesn't fall into intimacy through logic. She falls when her emotions run ahead of her mind, when she feels herself moving closer and doesn't know why, when your voice makes her forget the time, when your silence makes her nervous in a way she secretly craves. The man who understands this doesn't push. He pulls without pulling. He watches how she shifts her body when he talks. He notices when her breath catches. He reads her silences not to react, but to respond through presence. He doesn't say, "I want you." He says, "I like the way you look when you're holding something back." Now she's spiraling. Now she's questioning, what does he see in me that I didn't show? Why does this feel like I'm the one chasing? Because you flipped the script. You didn't just touch her skin. You touched her ego. You made her feel exposed not physically, psychologically. And women crave that kind of exposure because it's rare. And what's rare gets desired. When a woman feels like she initiated, like she lost control, like she made the first move, even if it was subtle, that memory sticks in her. She replayed again and again because it lets her feel alive, empowered, and deeply connected to the choice she made, not the one someone made for her. Two things happen at once. She feels empowered and overwhelmed, in control and craving more. That's the sweet spot of desire. Now let's talk about delivery. What do? You slow down your speech. You speak with unfinished thoughts. You don't answer every question. You create curiosity gaps. You let the silence hum between you. Like electricity, you don't say, "Come over." You say, "I was going to spend tonight alone unless that changes." You don't say, "I want you." You say, "You're distracting as hell." You leave breadcrumbs and she follows, not because she has to, but because she needs to know where they lead. This is why the most intimate moments are born from emotional suggestion, not verbal permission. If she's unsure, she waits. If she's intrigued, she acts. The goal isn't to make her say yes. The goal is to make her feel like not saying yes would haunt her. That's what stays with her. That's what drives her wild. You gave her the fantasy of freedom and the illusion of control, and she gave you her body like it was the most natural decision in the world. That's not manipulation. That's psychological seduction at the highest level. And the men who understand this never have to ask. They just create the moment and let her cross the line. When you lead the moment, she gives you everything. There's a reason she didn't respond to your compliment. A reason she changed the subject when you hinted at taking it further. It's not because she didn't want it. It's because you made her lead the moment and she didn't feel safe doing it. Understand this. A woman only opens when she feels like you're already holding the frame. If she senses hesitation, doubt, or overanalysis, her body shuts down because instinctively she knows this man wants me, but he doesn't know how to lead me. And if you can't lead her emotionally, she never trusts you with her body. Here's what most men don't realize. Women aren't waiting for permission to surrender. They're waiting for a man who knows how to hold that surrender once it's given. The man who speaks slowly, moves with intention, controls the tempo of the moment like a conductor with a symphony. He doesn't need her to make a move. He sets the tone so clearly that her only decision is to follow, not because he forced her, but because he made it safe to let go. And safety doesn't mean softness. It means certainty. He's not thinking, should I kiss her? He's reading her, feeling the current. And when it's there, he doesn't ask. He moves calmly, slowly, with presence, and lets her reaction tell him everything. Because a woman doesn't need you to ask if she's ready. She needs to feel that you are. When you lead the moment, she gets to relax. She gets to turn her brain off, to stop calculating, to stop protecting, to stop performing. That's when her femininity takes over. That's when she gets wet without understanding why. That's when she starts reaching for you because your energy said, "I've got this." And here's the truth. Most women have never truly experienced that a man fully grounded, fully present, fully unmoved by outcome. They're used to men who rush, who apologize for wanting, who act bold until she pulls away. Then suddenly he turns into a boy again, insecure, shaky, trying to earn it. That's when she loses interest. But the stoic man, the one who moves slow, speaks little, and listens deeply, he becomes a container for her chaos. And that's what she wants, because feminine energy is wild. It wants to spill, to swirl, to explode, but only in the presence of something strong enough to hold it. So if you want intimacy, real intimacy, not just her body but her soul, then don't rush. Lead. Slow everything down. Say less. Let your eye contact speak more. Let your breath control the room. Let your hands guide without grasping. She feel it. She feel you? And here's what happens next. She starts leaning in without realizing it. She starts laughing softer. She starts touching you more. She mirrors your pace. And when the moment comes, she gives you everything, not because she felt pressure, but because she felt chosen. Because she got to experience a moment where she didn't have to act, didn't have to lead, didn't have to carry the weight. That's what women are starving for, not pleasure, not performance, but relief. And the only man who gives her that relief is the one who leads, who doesn't ask, "Is this okay?" but says with his presence, with his stillness, "This is yours when you're ready," and when she is. She won't hesitate. She won't hide. She won't forget, because real intimacy isn't asked for, it's created. And the man who creates it owns her memory forever. Now, you know she doesn't want a checklist. She wants to be moved into yes, not negotiated into it. If you're becoming the man who creates presence instead of pressure, comment, "I don't ask, I attract." And if this video awakens something you forgot was inside you, like this video. Subscribe for more seductive insight.